Are you still exhausted after your holiday? Today, I want to delve into a topic that many of us may be intimately familiar with, and that is the persistent exhaustion that lingers even after a seemingly rejuvenating holiday. I want to explore why burnout persists despite our best efforts to recharge, and then also uncover some practical strategies for preventing fatigue and burnout and also recovering from it. Burnout or exhaustion is not merely a consequence of a hectic lifestyle. It is a product of chronic conditions and behaviors. I'm going to say that again. Burnout is a product of chronic conditions and behaviors. This applies to both your work and your home life. Unlike the temporary relief a holiday provides, burnout demands a more profound and sustained approach. And some of the signs of burnout are emotional fatigue from overwhelm, and that's when you're feeling drained despite having rested, or you have no sense of achievement. There's a perpetual lack of accomplishment, or perhaps you're growing disconnect from your work and your personal life. Perhaps you're becoming cynical and detached. I'm Sinta Ebersohn. I'm a post-traumatic growth coach with several international accreditations as a mentor, a trauma debriefing specialist, resilience practitioner, complementary therapist, holistic wellness counselor, strategic life coach, parenting coach, and I'm also an accredited training provider. So if you're still exhausted after your holiday, listen up. Remember, I said there are conditions and behaviors that cause burnout. Let's look at them. High demands. Overwhelming workloads or responsibilities can lead to chronic stress. And remember, I said this applies to your work environment as well as your home or your family environment. A lack of leadership. If there's an absence of effective guidance or committed partnership, it can leave individuals feeling adrift. Unclear hierarchy. If there's any ambiguity in organizational or family structure, it breeds confusion and anxiety. Contradictory communication. Mixed messages really create uncertainty and frustration. Think about time pressure. The constant sense of urgency really hampers mental and emotional well-being. And then there's a lack of autonomy. A dearth of decision-making freedom can be stifling. Bullying and abuse is another factor. An unhealthy workplace culture or an unhealthy family environment fosters stress and anxiety. And then finally, negative energy. A pessimistic or a passive-aggressive or high conflict atmosphere can sap motivation and vitality. Behaviors that can cause burnout are the following. The compulsion to prove your self-worth. If you're constantly seeking validation, it can be draining. If you're a perfectionist and striving for unattainable standards, that can lead to chronic stress. Poor boundaries, if you have difficulty in saying no and setting limits, can also be exhausting. And then if you're a people pleaser, you're prioritizing others at the expense of yourself, that is a recipe for burnout. Another factor is unrealistic expectations of yourself. Impossible goals set you up for failure and disappointment. Also, the need for recognition. If you're relying on external validation, it can really be emotionally depleting. And lastly, excessive worrying. Remember that chronic anxiety really takes a toll on our mental and emotional health. So I've discussed conditions and behaviors that I say is what produces fatigue and burnout. What strategies can we implement to prevent burning out? I have a number of suggestions. If we create self-awareness to manage our stress levels, which means we recognize and we address our stress triggers, it can help a lot. If we know how to communicate and ask for help, in other words, we foster open dialogue within our support network, that can also go a long way to preventing burnout. It's also very important to learn to say no. Establish healthy boundaries to protect your well-being. That's very, very important. And let go of unreasonable obligations and unrealistic expectations. It's important to prioritize realistically. Another suggestion would be to make changes or to leave. If it's possible, consider a change in your circumstances. If it's not possible, get out of there. And I would also recommend that you do regular self-care. This is something we use a lot, we talk about a lot, and it's a theme that comes through everywhere. Prioritize activities that bring you joy and relaxation. And lastly, I would invite you to change your perspective. Cultivate a positive mindset and reframe your challenges. Okay. So I've talked about conditions and behaviors that cause burnout. But if you think about all the factors and the aspects that I've mentioned, it's actually all about boundaries, don't you think? Let me explain to you. If you have too high demands and overwhelming workload or responsibilities, you're taking on too much, and that's about a personal boundary. If there's a lack of effective guidance, or you don't have a committed partnership, your expectations are too low, or they are unclear. Perhaps your standards are too low. That's a boundary. If there's ambiguity in your organization or your family structure, it means your position is unclear. Again, that's a boundary that you need to set for yourself. If there are mixed messages, unclear, contradictory communication going on, it means that you are either not expressing yourself properly or you're not communicating your needs clearly. Again, that's a boundary. If there's time pressure and you've got this constant sense of urgency, it means you're taking on too much and you don't set healthy boundaries within your limits and your abilities. If you have no autonomy and no decision-making power, it means you are submitting to someone else's control, and that is about a personal boundary. If there's bullying or abuse going on in your life, you are a victim. Again, that's boundaries. Negative energy, passive-aggressive behavior, high conflict means you are tolerating unacceptable behavior, and that is about boundaries. Again, interesting. And if we look at the behaviors that cause burnout, like constantly seeking validation, like perfectionism, difficulty in saying no and setting limits, people-pleasing, unrealistic expectations, relying on external validation, chronic anxiety, you probably have unresolved trauma, or you are stuck in a trauma response and you need to work through it to resolve those issues. However you look at this, boundaries play a big role in burnout, exhaustion, and chronic fatigue. And strategies that we can implement to recover from burnout is based in creating a work-life balance that is congruent with our highest values and our priorities. You have to align your activities with your core values. And then you have to gradually return to the responsibilities, ease back into your routine after a break. And if necessary, seek professional help. Consult with a mentor, coach, counselor like myself for guidance. How do we do this? How do we tackle these conditions and these behaviors that cause burnout? I have two great suggestions for you. Firstly, I have an online short course on boundaries where you can learn how to set and maintain healthy boundaries within a few hours, and you can model them to your family and your colleagues. It's a great course. You'll find the link to that course in the comments below this video. My second suggestion is an invitation for you to sign up and join my Get Up and Grow community. It's an amazing online community where we consciously cultivate resilience in all aspects of our lives. I'm talking about emotionally, environmentally, financially, intellectually, occupationally, physically, socially, spiritually, and also in your family life. In this community, you will find loads and loads of resources, tools, short courses, long courses, workshops, blog posts, live events, you name it, that are all designed with the purpose of supporting you in creating healthy boundaries, in cultivating resilience, as a daily practice in your life. So you can go and do the online course on boundaries if you feel that there's a real need for that. And alternatively, sign up for my Get Up and Grow community. I would love to see you there. So in conclusion, please remember that recognizing and addressing burnout requires an holistic approach. By implementing the strategies that I've just suggested, you're not only enhancing your own well-being, but you're also setting a powerful example for your children, for your family, and also for your co-workers. So let's embrace resilience, learn from our experiences, and continue to grow together. I'm Sinta Ebersohn, and I invite you to get up and grow with me. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with your friends and family and anybody who might benefit from it, and sign up now to join my Get Up and Grow community.